Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can look at living plant roots in the microscope. The reason I like this technique so much is that these roots are just the perfect size so that we can see them with our eyes, but we can also see them easily in the microscope. This makes it so much easier to understand the scale and perspective that we have when we're using the microscope. You'll need a petri dish or some other container, tape and marker if you want to label your samples, a spoon, a pipette, a precision tool, microscope slides and covers, paper towels, and some clean water. And of course, a microscope. First thing is to find some tiny seedlings, so we're going to head over to my garden and see what we can get. Find some really tiny seedlings and carefully dig them out using a spoon. The roots might be longer than you think, so don't be afraid to dig deep. It doesn't matter what kind of plants you use for this, as long as the roots are very small. Gently separate the plant from the soil and any mulch material, being very careful not to pinch the stem. This is good enough. Don't try to get all the material off at this stage because you'll risk damaging the roots more than necessary. Place the seedling in a small dish with a little bit of water. Carefully transfer the seedling over into another dish. I like this needle tool because it gives me the most precision and control. But you can also use tweezers. It's a little bit more difficult, but it can work just as well, and you're more likely to have this at home. The most important thing here is to never pick up the seedlings by the stem. You can handle the leaves or pick them up from the lower roots, but don't pinch the stem or you'll kill it. I don't recommend trying to use the spoon for this, and I'll show you why. Just like if you tried to use your fingers, you just don't have the same amount of control. The seedlings are so delicate and easy to damage, you need much finer instruments to be able to handle them without crushing or pinching them. But it can be done. Next, we want to give our seedlings a little bath. The goal here is to remove as much of the coarse debris as possible. These large chunks will lift the cover glass up off the microscope slide. This is a problem when we want to look at things in the microscope because it increases the depth of the water column, and that will make everything look more wobbly and out of focus. So we want the distance between the microscope slide and the cover glass to be as small as possible. Lift your seedling out of the dish and place it on the slide. Next, we need to add some water to the slide. We're going to use some of the water that came back with the plant, because this has a little bit of soil and some of the microbes that the plant was already living with. Make sure not to pick up any large chunks that will lift the cover slip off the slide. Now we need to add the cover slip. Hold the glass gently between your thumb and forefinger and place it on the slide next to the drop of water. You'll see the water catch along the edge of the glass, and then you can set it down. You'll probably need to add a little bit more water to fill out the rest. Use a paper towel to dab away any extra water from the leaves and stem of the plant. And that's it, your slide is ready to go. You can look at it in the microscope right away, but I recommend waiting a couple days to see the most microbe activity. You'll need a humidity chamber to keep the seedlings from drying out. Don't worry, it's not as fancy as it sounds. It's literally just an airtight container with a bit of damp paper towel. I'll show you how to do it. First, take a sheet of paper towel and fold it into a square. Then fold the corners in just to make it a bit smaller. You just want it to fit neatly inside your dish. You don't have to do it exactly like this. This is just the technique that I use. I've done this a lot of times. Next, place the paper towel into your dish. Make sure it's not sticking up too much at the edges. Then add some water. You want the paper towel to be fully wet, but not sopping wet so that there's water sitting on the bottom of the dish. Add your slide. You can set it right onto the paper towel, that's okay. And then close the lid. If you have it, you can use parafilm to create an airtight seal. However, it's single use, and if you're looking at your slides very often, it can feel a little bit wasteful. I only do this when I need to travel with my samples. If you don't have a petri dish, any airtight container will do. Just make sure it's not so big that it will dry out really quickly. Do exactly the same thing. Just fold up some paper towel, place it on the bottom, and pour over some water. Your seedlings will not only survive like this, but they'll actually grow on the slide. You'll be able to see new roots developing. I don't know how long they can live like this. I've had them for more than 6 weeks and they only died when I forgot to water them. Here's how to water your micro garden so that it will live as long as possible. As the water evaporates, you'll see this line form on the slide. That's when you know it's time to top it up. Use your pipette to add a little bit more water underneath the cover slip. This can be a little bit tricky, but it gets easier with practice. If you accidentally add too much water or spill some on top of the cover slip, you can just gently dab it away with a piece of paper towel.